Projected first overall pick, Trevor Lawrence with the Jags. So, Shannon, would you rather have the LA job with Justin Herbert or the Jacksonville job with Trevor Lawrence?
A lot of it's going to be dependent on who becomes the head coach, Skip. I was going back and forth, and I agree. I believe the Chargers job, because Justin Herbert was fabulous this year, Skip. The kid didn't start the first game and threw for over 4,300 yards, 30-plus touchdowns. He was magnificent.
Yep.
But Skip, when you look at the Jags, not only do they have the first pick, they got $100 million in cap space in the state of Florida, which means no state income tax.
Agreed.
You can attract a lot of people with that. So California, I don't know. You and I know firsthand about California state tax. So let me see, 12, 13%, or 0%. And the first-round draft picks that they got, not only do they have the number one, they got the Rams pick for Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
They get a pick for Ngakwe.
They do.
So they got, what, 11 picks? So they are primed to attract people to come. Look, all this notion, and I know Justin Fields played fabulous on Saturday, but Justin Fields doesn't have a hillbilly heartbeat chance of going number one overall. With that being said, I believe Jacksonville, with $100 million in cap space and the number one overall pick and the ability to no state income tax, Skip. Now, Justin Herbert, I've already seen his body of work in the NFL. He's fabulous. They got Joey Bosa. They got Keenan Allen. They got Hunter Henry. Now, what are they going to do with him because they franchised him last year? The Big Williams, Skip, they got some nice pieces offensively.
Do they?
The question is, Derwin James, he's a fabulous safety, Skip, but he can't stay healthy.
Yep.
He just can't stay healthy. So, right now, I'm going to say the Jags slightly, not because of the quarterback. They might get, I'm talking about the $100 million that they got in cap space and how they can build out this roster, Skip.
Yep.
You can get a lot of good pieces. And think about, Skip, the cap is not going to be 190 from what it was, and you got $100 million, Skip, you can get a lot of good players. They're going to be some guys that's going to be available that you're going to be able to get for pennies on the dollar and build out a roster to surround Trevor Lawrence. You got to make it of something really good, especially in Jacksonville. But that LA job, not a bad job to have.
Oh, it's a good one.
And the weather can't beat the weather.
So this is a really close call.
It is.
If I were a coaching candidate and I had an option, here's my gut feeling on Trevor Lawrence. I believe he's going to have a little better career than Justin Herbert, just a little better. But I'm betting on the come. I don't know that. I only know what I've seen in college football. The difference is Trevor Lawrence at 6 feet 5 inches tall can really run. It's straight line running. It's not make you miss. There's no Michael Vick going on. But if you give him a crack, he can hurt you. He can run 40 yards, and I'll be curious to see if he times. But yeah, I bet he can run 4.6-ish in that ballpark. But that's for that 6'5", that's pretty fast.
And look at all the young quarterbacks, all the up and comers. What can they do? They all can move.
Yep.
They all can move. From Lamar to Kyler to Justin Herbert to Josh Allen. All the guys can move. Aaron Rodgers, the only guy that really doesn't do a whole lot of moving that's still picking you apart is Brady.
That guy. Okay, so neither of us loved Justin Herbert when he was at Oregon. I watched him a lot. I got to tell you, he lost his poise. He lost his way numerous times in what I considered pretty big Pac-12 games.
Yes.
And yet in his bowl game, he was very good.
Yes.
And in the All-Star game, he was very good. And he was way better than I thought. And I cannot argue with 31 touchdowns. And his coming out party for me was the day they jumped up 24-7 on Brady at Tampa.
Right.
They couldn't hold it, but he was throwing rockets all over the field. And I said, where did this come from? And it wasn't a blip, it was a trend.
Skip, you remember his first start against Kansas City? He had them on the rope. He made one mistake, rolling to his left, throws back across his body, gets picked in the end zone.
Didn't even know he was going to start until right at kickoff.
And then he goes to New Orleans and do basically the same thing. He's up 17 on them.
They were actually too good for their own good. They could have won a couple of more games, but they went 7-9 and cost themselves whatever draft pick that.
They were up by like 20 on Denver and ended up losing that game.
They ended up losing that game. So I hear you about LA, what I'm torn about is they have established star. Keenan Allen is a flat-out star.
Yes.
Derwin James can be a star if he
can stay healthy.
And Joey Bosa, if he could stay healthy.
Yes.
I think he's only played 16 twice in his career.
Right.
And my man Casey Hayward, cornerback from Vanderbilt University, he's really good. They have pieces that are star Pro Bowl pieces, right?
Yes.
And that kid Kenneth Murray they took out of Oklahoma,
Right.
he can play, but he could play at Oklahoma. He's a tackling machine. So I look at Hunter Henry. He's going to be a free agent, but they have plenty of room to re-sign him.
Yes.
And obviously Mike Williams and Jalen Guyton. There are pieces in place.
Eckler.
Okay, Eckler can play. It's Los Angeles. I know they're the equivalent of the Clippers. They're the second team in LA, but they get to play in that same beautiful billion. How many billion? Is it?
Like 3.5
billion. Okay, it's beautiful, and it's in Los Angeles. It's in this weather, and I think you can attract free agents here, even though you got the state tax. Jacksonville also has some young pieces that are they're mildly intriguing to me because when I look at what they have.
The Robinson kid can run the running back.
He can run.
Yes.
He can run. Every time I looked up, he was doing something. I'd say, wow, he's not bad. James Robinson. Caleb Von Chason, I wanted the Cowboys to take him if, in fact, CD didn't fall in their laps at 17.
Right.
So I think he can play. That C.J. Henderson that they drafted, he can play. Laviska Shenault can play. DJ Chark can play.
Yes.
Okay, so there's some younger, less proven. Miles Jack is a proven piece. And the other Josh Allen plays linebacker there, who's pretty good.
Right.
Well, it was just 2017. They were at Foxborough in the AFC Championship game. So you would think, okay, if you give me Trevor Lawrence, now you got to trust that he's going to be at least what Justin Herbert is, if not a little better. So I go back and forth. So in the end, because I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a little better career, I would do Jacksonville. And again, your point about this no state tax with the most cap money in football.
$100 million.
And they have the Rams first rounder, as you said, and they have Minnesota's first rounder in 2020. This
draft.
In this draft.
Yes.
And they got an extra fourth and an extra fifth. Well, if you got the right brains of the operation in there and you get the right man for the job, they're going to be back in the
You
mix.
hit on 2 of the 3 first rounders now. If Trevor Lawrence is what many believe that he is, he's going number 1. You got him. You got him in the bag. Now, with your pick or Minnesota, do you package that, Skip, and move up? There's somebody else that you really like? Because if there's somebody else you could like, you can package those 2 first rounders and come back up and get somebody.
Yeah.
You got the pieces. They got the capital.
So which of those 2 teams has the most fervent fan base? Well, Jacksonville has never supported that team the way Green Bay supports its team as a small market team, right?
No.
And yet in L.A., you are definitely the stepchild, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
As the Chargers, because you're
so
the
hard.
San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, you got to win here in L.A.
Yep.
It's too much to do. I know we shut down now, but it's too many patios that you can go eat on. You got the beach, you got Manhattan Beach, you got Venice Beach. You got too much going on for you not to win and think people going to come see you play.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
And too many people grew up here as Rams fans, so their heart's always going to be with the establishment, right?
Yes.
The Rams.
Yes.
So I don't know that fan-wise, it's like a push. That neither is great.
And then Jacksonville, Skip, you happen to be, you in college country. Yeah, I mean, you got Gainesville right down the street. You got, so.
What they used to call the world's biggest cocktail party is played in your, right under your nose.
Right. So.
And remember, they were scheduled, because they don't draw well at home, they were scheduled to play 2 games, if not for COVID, this year in London.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
2 games? Well, they're just showing you they're sort of going to become a split city team.
I mean, Skip, they used to attract, when they had Mark Brunell and Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell and Nate Trummy, they had a nice little fan base there, but then all of a sudden, they started bringing out the tarp and covering up a lot of it. But Skip, with that kind of money, if you get that guy, and that guy's what you believe he is, and what you can attract to build around him, you can build a nice house.
Yep. I'm with you. I would slightly choose the Jags over the Chargers.
We finally agree on something.
Finally.
Should we also move
And I just wish
show?
I had that opportunity. I could coach that team.
Oh, you coach the
I
Jags?
could coach Trevor Lawrence.
How about we move the show to Florida? We all save some money on tax
would we?
purposes.